March has been a month full of surprises, and this week was no different. There were a couple good surprises, as well as a couple of others that I could have done without. Ready to hear what happened? Let's go. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. This is my weekly budget update video, and I don't have too many transactions from this week, but it was kind of an odd week in terms of what happened with my budget. So I'll get into the budget overview. And in a previous video, I can't remember if it was last week's budget update or somewhere else along the way, I mentioned that I got a refund from my previous apartment. Those of you who have been following me for a while know that I moved recently, and I had budgeted for some move-out expenses, damages, last utilities, things like that, that I might have had to pay in addition to the deposit that I gave to my previous residence. But as it turns out, I actually got money back. So that was a big bonus, not just for getting the money back, but also for not having to pay out any more money. Now, originally, I had planned to put that in the April budget and record it as a negative because it was money in instead of money out in the bills column. But I decided that I was going to put that into this month because also this week I got the refund check for the deposit at the previous place that I had intended to move to, but which didn't work out. Now, they told me they would refund all my money, and they didn't do it. I should have gotten around $425 back, and I got $350. So the question then becomes, do I pursue collecting that $75 or do I just let it go? And I've decided to just let it go. It isn't right, but at the same time, the amount of energy and time that I would have to spend trying to recover the extra money just isn't worth it to me. So I'm going to let it go and just be thankful that I got a refund for my previous place, which could have very easily gone the other way, and just call it there. I'm also going to put those numbers into my March budget as far as those refunds as like an unexpected income. And here's why. If I go into the April budget, and if you watched my April budget video, then you may remember that I had put in here that I was going to get the deposit refund here of $400, which it ended up being $350, like I said. And I also put in $500 for the final apartment bill. So since I'm not going to have to pay that, I'm also not going to count this into April. I'm just going to put it into March. These two will more or less wash. In fact, I'm still $100 to the good for my April budget. So I'm going to put it into March since I already have the money and I deposited it this week rather than waiting for the month to roll over. So I'm going to call that housing refund. And the total amount, well, I didn't plan for anything. The total amount was $414.65. So I'm just going to call it 414 because I always round down in this column. So that's it for the income portion. Now, because I don't have Paycheck 2 or the cell phone reimbursement yet, I will get those next week. Bills, there were some more bills that came in. Puget Sound Energy, my final bill from them was $49 and change, so we're going to call it $50. And the reason why this is higher than what I had budgeted is because I had budgeted my regular monthly amount. And what they ended up doing is, because I only had a few more days of electricity use past when they issued the bill, they just issued me a new bill, said this is the final bill that includes the previous bill plus like another week. So that's why that's higher, and that's fine. Visible came out, that was $35. And then another one of the unpleasant surprises was that on the 26th or thereabout, I had to pay internet charges. And that was not planned, and that was $71. So a couple of problems here. Number one is I disconnected my old internet and I thought they billed ahead, not in arrears, but they do bill in arrears. So because I had internet for 2 days in the billing cycle, they billed me for the whole billing cycle. Also, my promo rate ended, so my bill jumped from $50 to $71. But goodbye, good riddance. I'm not with them anymore, and this was the last bill, so that's that. So that's it for the bills section, and this is pretty much complete, but I'm not going to close it yet just because, heaven forfend, anything else comes in this month, it would still need to go here. And I've also got another week of wallet spend. So I cut this off at the 31st, I cut income off at the 31st, but because wallet is on a weekly basis, this will start, well, it started again today as I'm filming this, Friday the 28th, and it will run through April 3rd. Okay, so I'll come back to the wallet. Stockpiles I don't need to do anything with. Savings and extra debt, this was $250 budgeted, but I actually sent $300 to my Roth IRA. So that's for that. And I think we're good here for now. Okay, so next, we'll go over to the cash flow tracker. And I deposited those 2 checks for housing refunds. And I deposited them together in one transaction, so I'm just going to leave it combined here. $414.65. And then for withdrawals, I had an Affirm payment for my cell phone hardware, $42.79. Again, this is financed at 0%, and my company gives me a reimbursement for it. So there's no incentive for me to pay it off early other than, just having it paid off. So that is that. And then I had an ATM withdrawal for my weekly walking around money for $100. Didn't spend any of it, but I took the money out, so that'll just roll over into the next week. And then there was also a surprise move to the Blip Fund of $130. And the reason is because I got a little bit of a payout from Etsy, and I decided to just round it up to the next $200 and send out more money into the Blip Fund to get it to the next tier. So I did that. All right, we'll break it here for a sec, and I'll come back and I'll talk about expenses. Okay, moving on to the expense tracker. I had quite a few, well, not quite a few, I had a few in here, and I'm going to combine them again like I did the last couple of weeks. I realize now I should have just printed another page. I mean, I've been trying not to waste another sheet of paper, but there's just been too many transactions. So lesson learned for in the future, when there's a 5-week month, I just need to print off 2 sheets. But to try to save myself again, I'm going to combine the restaurants for the week. So this will have been the 21st through the 27th. And that wasn't a really good one, but. And so this will be DoorDash and restaurants. In the food category. And it wasn't too bad this time around. So I had 26.24, 660, 22.92, and 19.25. Okay, $75.01. Oops, 75.01 cent. Then I had groceries, mostly at Safeway. And my grocery bill has gone up quite a bit, $134.74 in total spend. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one is I am replacing a lot of the pantry staples that I didn't bring with me. So I consumed a bunch of the things that were in my pantry, as well as everything that was in my fridge and freezer, to bring as little food as possible with me just for the ease of moving. So I'm having to replace a lot of things now. And some of the things that I'm having to replace are really expensive. I bought garlic powder this week, and it was like $7 for a tiny little bottle. So all of those costs are adding up. The other thing is that shopping at Safeway is really expensive. It is not my favorite grocery store, but it's what is nearest to me. So For the sake of convenience, I've been doing a lot more shopping there. I'm going to try to change that over the next few weeks, but for now, that's where I've been going, and it's just the price of groceries anywhere is high, but Safeway seems to be especially high. Okay, another transaction that I had just yesterday is for Flix, well, Flixbus. And so this is going to be travel. And the reason why I have an expense for Flix is because last week I booked this ticket for Amtrak. And then Amtrak canceled all of their rail service and replaced it with buses. But the Amtrak buses are not great, at least in my part of the country. They smell bad, they're very hot and crowded, and so I decided that I would book a ticket on Flix. And with Flix, I booked a preferred seat, and I also booked the seat next to me so that I didn't have to sit next to anybody. So I'm getting $16.50 back from Amtrak, even though the total fare was $22. I'm not going to fight over $5.50, even though it's their fault. So I'm going to take off the $16.50 from the charge. The charge was $57.96 for Flix, and then $16.50 came off from Amtrak, so $41.46 net. And then the only other thing left is the weekly cash. Cash spent. And I don't categorize this because it could have gone toward anything, and I spent 60 bucks. I had 160 at this, well, I had 60 at the start of the week. I withdrew 100, and I still have that 100 now. In fact, I didn't do a cash dump, so let me do that real quick here. So I'll get out the containers, and we'll do the coins first because that's the easiest. So this big bag of coins, and I had a decent amount this week. So a lot of pennies, but still. Some quarters, some nickels. So that all goes in. And for those of you who haven't seen that before or this before, this is for Christmas. There's not a goal behind it. It's just whatever I can accumulate, I will redeem for a gift card and put that toward Christmas presents. Okay, so that's the coins done. And then for paper money, so I keep 20s and 5s and 10s and anything like that. And all of the ones that I get in change, and this is just making sure it's all ones, yep, that all goes into this bag here. And at the end of the month, I will put this toward the Letterbox challenge. So a good amount here for March. I don't know, there's probably $40, $45 here. So that I've got one more week to accumulate singles toward that. And so that will be up probably the weekend of April 6th, 7th, somewhere around there. Okay, so then these 20s go back in. And before I put these back in, just one other thing I want to mention. If you save Letterbucks, and, well, let me take a one back out, actually. So in the US, the $1 and $2 bills have a letter here that corresponds to the branch of the Federal Reserve where that dollar bill was distributed. Not where it was printed, but where it was distributed. So the K here represents Dallas, Texas, and it'll tell you where it is here. So if you have larger bills, 5s, 10s, 20s, anything like that, if they're the old style of bill, they will have that here. But if they're the newer bills, then it has just the seal of the Federal Reserve, but you can still find out where they were distributed, and that is here. So this is K, so this is Dallas again. D here, that is, let me see, D, Richmond, Virginia, I think. This one's an F, which is Atlanta. This one's an I, rare, which I think is Minneapolis. And this one's an L, which is San Francisco. So the L, or the letter rather, is the branch, and the number just corresponds to the letter. So L is the 12th letter of the alphabet, I is the 9th, F is the 6th, etc., etc. So, and I'll bring that a bit up again during the Letterbox video. Okay, so that's the cash dump. I try to remember to get that done first, but this week I just didn't quite get there. So that's that. I'll put all of this away, and then next up we'll talk about savings. Before we move on to savings, it occurred to me that I forgot to total all of this up and put it back into the monthly budget. So I'm going to do that really quick. And let's see here. So 7501 plus 134.74 plus 41.46 plus 60 is $311.21. And I'm just going to color code the week. We'll use purple this week. And that is over my $250 allotment. But as I said in previous weeks, I've taken my foot off the brake a little bit with spending this month just because there are so many things that I'm having to buy for my new apartment. And I did budget in April to pay off the credit card where all of these extra expenses are going. So I'm covered, but the total is higher than what I budgeted. So let me go back to that page here at the front. $311.21. So even though I'm over, it has been coming down every week since the move. So this first week was the latter half of it was the move itself, and then the following week, and the week after, and the week after. So it's come down about $100 a week, or almost $100 a week. So that's fantastic. I feel good about the direction it's going, even if the numbers are a little bit high. And like I say, I've got money allocated in April's budget to pay off all the overages. Okay, so now let's talk about savings. So I'm going to set this aside for now, although I'll probably need it again here real soon. I was able to find my stamp pad and the stamp that I use for the IRA. So let's go there first. So I printed out a new copy of the Sloth IRA. This is available in my Etsy shop along with all of my worksheets and trackers and things like that. And this is for the whole year, save $7,000 toward your Sloth IRA. When you buy this file, you also get the save $8,000. If you're age 50 or over, you can make an extra $1,000 in contributions, catch-up contributions to your IRA in 2025. So, but for me, because I'm not yet reached the age of 50, it's $7,000. And I'm first going to fill in the tracker. So this is my Roth IRA. And the starting balance, I am saying, is $0. Now, I contributed to my Roth IRA the last year, the year before that. I opened my Roth IRA in 2020, so I've been contributing the max ever since. But just for the purposes of this tracker, because I'm only concerned with how much I'm contributing, not how much I'm growing, that's why I'm starting at $0. So, and this is going to get covered up anyway because that's where the flag goes. So, let's see here. I've got my notes here to the side. On March 17th, that is when I contributed the first money, and that was $257. And the balance was $257. Then, on March 19th, I contributed $251, and that brought it to $508. And then today, or yesterday, March 27th, I contributed $300, and that brought me to $808. Okay, so this is money that I set aside on game night every week, which is on Mondays. This next week will be a little bit different. I'm going to separate it because the last game night was an hour and 15 minutes, and that is pretty long. So I'm going to divide it up into 2 separate videos, and I'll explain more on Monday's video. But for now, just know that all of the money that I put into savings challenges and games every week is going toward my Roth IRA. And it's been that way since March just because I had other savings goals that I needed to take care of first. I needed to get the emergency fund fully funded. And now that that's done, I'm working on the blip fund and I'm working on the Roth IRA. So what I can do now is get out my stamper here, move this up. So each one of these represents $100, so I'm going to stamp 8, and I'm really going to try to do a better job than I did last year 6. And of course, you don't have to use a stamp. You can just cross them out, or you can circle them, or put a check mark, or whatever. Well, I'm already off a little bit, but that's okay. Whatever style you like. So the tracker's up to date. This tracker's up to date, so we're good on the Roth IRA. Set this aside. And now I'm going to go over to the emergency save. My big emergency fund is fully funded. It's been that way for a few weeks now. And so what I'm working on, and I'm leaving this in here because I'm still going to track the interest that it earns. But now what I'm working on is the blip fund. And I've explained this a few times, but just real quick for anybody who's new, a blip is an unexpected expense that isn't necessarily an emergency, but it's just something that you didn't plan for, and you got to have money to pay for it that's, you know, not in your budget. So this can help with that. This was on the 26th. I'm going to say that I added $195. Now, part of that was the $130 that I took out of my checking account and sent over to the blip fund. The other was the Etsy payout. So that brought it up to $1,400. And that means we get box in another section. Okay. And then we'll use the chisel tip to shade it in. And I've gone over the line like I do just about every week, but that's okay. Okay, so that is filled in. I'm more than halfway toward my goal of $2,400. So this is $1,200 was halfway, and now I'm at 14. So if I don't make any other special contributions, this should be fully funded by June. And that is fantastic, because once this is fully funded, I can start saving for the big move, which is the next goal. I've talked about it a little bit here on this channel, but for now, I'm happy with the progress, and we'll just keep plugging away. And that's the budget update for this week. If you missed game night on Monday, I did announce a new product in my Etsy shop, and it is stickers for the Frugality Force and the Swindle Syndicate. These are the characters from my Savings Challenge book, General Greenback and the Frugality Force, and I've been doing this on Monday nights. So, excuse me, now stickers are available for all of the heroes and all of the villains in the book. And these are about 3 inches in height, and they are printed on, well, they're professionally printed. I went to an external vendor for these, and they're on high quality matte finish vinyl. So they are durable and they will hold up, and they are absolutely high quality. So available in my Etsy shop. Link is down below. A couple of programming notes. So starting next week, I am going to split up the 3 Savings Challenge books from the book, from the binder, just because, again, those videos are getting pretty long, and with me putting $300 a week toward those savings, and some of the challenges only saving a few dollars each, it gets really long when I have to do so many of them. So that's going to be happening. Monday night will continue to be game night, so I will focus on the games, and I think the books I will do on Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes, and that's going to be coming up. And then next weekend, the weekend of April 4th, 5th, 6th, I will have the last budget update for March, and we'll do the month-end close. We'll also do the letterbox stuffing and talk about what's coming up in April. So thank you so much for watching, and especially for watching through to the end. I really do appreciate everybody who takes some time out of their day to spend it with me. I'm passionate about sharing my budget, I think, because it is important for me not only to be accountable, but also just to see how much progress I'm making with my financial goals, which I haven't really done before. And so that's been really eye-opening, and I want to say thank you for coming along on this voyage with me. So again, link to my Etsy shop down in the description. New things coming up this next week. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and a comment down below. And until I see you in the next one, take care.